I might be broadcasting. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Monday. This is my show. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. We're spilling Covfefe here on a Monday morning, and it looks like we're live on the YouTube, and it looks like nobody is watching yet. I didn't even tweet this out, so here we go. So I'm just, I was going to say I'm just waking up. I'm not. Hi, Marcy. Marcy's here. Okay, good. Let's go from there. This is Spilling Covfefe. There's no agenda. We just talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. We'll watch a little Fox and Friends in the morning, get our week going, see what we should be concerned about. You would think the threat of nuclear war, genocide, etc. would be the news of the day. We'll find out what we should really be talking about. Good morning, Dale. And what you guys also want to talk about. We'll watch a little Fox and Friends. I watched some Fox coverage over the weekend, all about Hunter Biden. Like, who cares? Who really cares? They think this is going to take down Joe Biden. The difference being is that, what if Trump Jr., what if Don Jr. had the media would never stop. No. They cheated cancer kids and were caught and were told you're not allowed to have a charity anymore. And it was a blip in the radar. Trump had so much stuff about Trump that the media had plenty to cover all the time. Every single day there was more Trumpage. But there's Hunter Biden. If Don Jr. had done something bad, if Eric had done something bad, which they did, it doesn't really affect Dad that much because he's not the son. He's not Ivanka. Morning, Cooch. So they are sticking to the Hunter thing. It didn't work before the election. It's not going to work for the next election. I don't get it. We all have people who have kids that are assholes. I guess no Republicans has ever had a bad kid. Let's get right into it. If anybody wants to talk about anything, we can talk about anything. I don't know how long I'm going to go this morning. Went to an Oilers Ducks game last night. Got the tickets last minute. Got a good deal on them on actually on Ticketmaster itself. And got to see Leon Draisaitl's 50th goal. It was exciting. Producer Jojo came with me, and so I can tell you something about the Ducks. I'm not a fan of the Ducks, although I go to the games. But I'm a Kings fan, but also an Oilers fan. But I'm a Kings fan. So if you're in LA, it's like the Yankees and the Mets. Most people are not fans of both. You're supposed to be. If I was in New York, I would be a fan of the Yankees and the Mets, and I would also be a terrible person because I'd be from New York. But why not? They're in two different leagues, right? Might as well. Here in baseball, I won't get into that. But anyway, I go to the Ducks games. I can tell you this. The people who work for the Ducks, salt of the earth, good people. I have a broken leg right now. So went in there. I had tickets up in up a few rows. Stairs are not my friend right now. I'm wearing a cast boot thing. And I went to the will calls and said, hey, I have tickets. Do you happen to have anywhere else I could sit that I don't have to climb a bunch of stairs? Hold on. Here you go. And they gave me paper with some nice seats without having to climb a bunch of stairs. So nice. And then we went to that section, and Nancy was there, and Nancy got out some chairs for us. Good people. When I went to talk to the Kings about that, I was in a wheelchair, and I said, so, do you have anything available? Nope. Oh, okay. Oh, if we did, then you would have to pay the difference between your seats and the handicap seat, whatever that might be. I'm like, what if it's like one of the $180 ones right down by the glass? Yep, you would have to pay, and then we'll take you in the elevator, but you would have to pay the difference between... The Ducks are just like, yeah, hold on, let me see if I have to... Oh, yeah, we keep this section free. So, but another guy right beside me with a wheelchair, they upgraded his seats as well. I don't want to say they upgraded. They're not really upgrading. They're just saying, this is accessible for you. Enjoy, which is great. So I appreciate the Ducks. Shout out to the Ducks. The Ducks lost 6-1 yesterday to my Oilers, so I'm happy about that. But I do enjoy going to the Ducks games, and I do enjoy giving them a little bit of my money. Theoretically, I guess if I'm doing the resale market, I'm not. And then I don't eat and drink there. By the way, nobody there wearing a mask. It was myself, producer Jojo. We were wearing masks. I think I saw maybe 3 masks the entire rest of the game. It's in Orange County, it never happened. COVID is just a figment of everyone's imagination. Let's get right into it. What about is a Soviet psyops technique? Fox uses it ad nauseum. Yeah, what about Hunter Biden? What about Hunter Biden? Anyway, I was doing some research on the Hunter Biden. Because I did some research on the internet. The whole wife, mayor of Moscow. We already looked at that the other day during Trump's speech. And he said Chris Wallace told him it was inappropriate. And no, Chris Wallace didn't say that. We looked at it. We watched the actual debate he was talking about, and it's all nonsense. Plus, he wouldn't let Joe Biden even answer. And Joe Biden is still apparently convinced that Hunter did nothing wrong. And the right's like, if he's never talked to him about his business, how is he doing anything? I haven't talked to my son about his job, other than are you liking it? Yeah. Which is that's not really talking about the job. I say, what do you do? And he's like, oh, I'm a coder. Oh, what do you code? Oh, this mechanical blah, 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 blah. Okay, and I'm a techie. Like I think maybe if I worked hard, I would understand. But it's just like, okay, good. As long as you're happy, as long as you're getting paid, enjoy. I'm sure you're really good. And he seems to be really good at what he does. I really don't know. People say, oh, what does he do? He works for a big company, and he does coding. He does... I might as well just say, he goes to a company, and he sits at a keyboard, and he taps. I mean, that's what everybody does, right? All right, let's see what's going on with Fox and Friends. Hold on, you guys are going to get a bunch of echo. I should probably set this up before I actually start the broadcast. It was coming up on 1850. I was under a deadline. Mark says, I don't even understand what my kid does. He tried explaining it once and I drifted off. Yeah. But you know what? If somebody accused my son of wrongdoing, I would say, no, I don't think so. I don't believe that. I don't know, because he's my kid. All these right-wingers, like, oh, if he's never talked about it with Hunter, how does he know that he's so innocent? How would he even know? Because you believe in your kid. Dude, I am sorry you grew up in an environment where your parents didn't believe in you, or don't believe in you now. I feel really badly for those people, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to vote for a guy. So many other reasons not to vote for Biden. Let me put this in my ears, and then we'll go from there. Here we go. My voice is already gone. I think I did some shouting at the game last night.
Growing evidence of civilian massacres around Ukraine.
Yeah, so the photos and video coming in from Bucha just outside of Kiev, just heartbreaking. It appears the Russians took civilians out of their houses, hogtied them, shot them through the head, shot their legs off, shot them through, just horrible atrocities. But that Putin's a genius, I'll tell you that. Super duper smart. If you don't know, I'm not saying that Putin's a genius. This is sarcasm. That's what Trump calls him. So, great negotiator. The best way to negotiate is to drag somebody out of their house, hog-tie them, and just shoot them. Multiple wounds, let them bleed out. Shoot them in the ankle, and then say, if you scream, I'm going to kill you. And then do it anyway. Super genius. That's not me. That's what Trump says. God, here we go.
As Zelensky now turns to Hollywood.
Our children, they have it.
He's turning to everyone. Everyone. People in Hollywood have money. People in Hollywood have power. I don't. But some people do. What he should do is just say, our opponent, Vladimir Putin, is saying bad things about Jada Pinkett Smith and her hair. So, Will Smith, if you're listening...
Dream.
See Will Smith marching up to Putin.
Of them living free, like you, on the dream stage.
The Justice Department is continuing its investigation into Hunter Biden.
We need a Biden crime family committee, and we need one right now.
Again, right off the bat, we got Ukraine, but he just talked to Hollywood. Okay, but there's like lots of things happening there. Lots of things. We don't have to go after the liberal Hollywood for this one. We should be going after Putin. Remember? He's the bad guy. But no, we have to talk about Hollywood. And what else? Hunter Biden.
Is the president confident Hunter Biden didn't break the law?
Of course the president's confident.
Of course, it's his kid. Why wouldn't he be confident? I'm sure Hunter Biden broke the law. I am absolutely confident he broke the law. Did he take 3.5 million? No. Did he get the money from China? No. All of this seems to be complete nonsense. But did Hunter Biden smoke crack? It appears he did, and that is illegal.
Of the law.
The Senate Judiciary Committee is set to vote on Supreme Court nominee Ketanji Brown Jackson.
She'll be the most liberal justice to have ever served on the U.S. Supreme Court.
Okay.
Biden administration confirmed it is revoking Title 42.
¿Todos México?
Yes. We're going to see a human tidal wave across this border.
Here comes Henderson, all alone. South Carolina has captured its...
Okay, so congratulations to South Carolina for capturing something. I think the NCAA title. I think the men play tonight, and it's probably, I don't know, Duke against North Carolina. I don't know. It's the same people all the time. I was really hoping for St. Peter's or whatever that other little school was. Old Dominion, if they're still a thing. New Dominion, I don't care. It's the same. It shouldn't be that way in college sports. There shouldn't be powerhouses. They're not professional organizations, but that's just the way it works out. I'd love to see the little guy win once in a while.
I put a tie on this morning.
He did. Yes. He put on a necktie.
I decided to shake it up a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
SNL did a Fox and Friends as their cold open. Actually don't remember it being that funny, but there were parts of it that were good. Their Trump impersonator was fantastic.
It's very pretty.
You like this color?
I like that color. What'd you do this weekend?
I had my show at 10 p.m. There's a lot of breaking news happening, and we have breaking news today as well. The President Zelensky talking.
Oh, my word. It was so powerful.
That's not breaking news. That's from last night.
Powerful. He spoke at the Grammys last night. It was a pre-taped interview, probably about 48 hours before the Grammys, from a bunker. And it was extremely powerful because it put things into perspective. We are so grateful to be Americans. And here we are celebrating the Grammys, the award ceremony here in America.
Wow, look at all those empty seats.
And it's a completely different scene, as you know, in Ukraine.
Right. He gave a speech about the power of music in war, and he urged artists to use their talents to tell the truth about how Russia is trying to destroy and murder the people of Ukraine. Here's President Zelensky at the Grammys last night.
What's more opposite to music? The silence of ruined cities and killed people. Our children draw swooping rockets, not shooting stars. Over 400 children have been injured and 153 children died, and we'll never see them drawing. Our parents are happy to wake up in the morning in bomb shelters, but alive. Our loved ones don't know if we will be together again. The war doesn't let us choose who survives and who stays in eternal silence. Our musicians wear body armor instead of tuxedo. They sing to the wounded in hospitals, even to those who can't hear them, but the music will break through anyway. We defend our freedom to live, to love, to sound. On our land, we are fighting Russia, which brings horrible silence with its bombs, the dead silence. Feel the silence with your music. Feel it today to tell our story.
You know, the President Zelensky is not just a great leader, he's a great communicator. I mean, we see
in multiple languages.
Atrocities all the time worldwide. But the way that he's been able to tell the story of the Ukrainian people while still asking for help, the way he's been able to stand there in battle, shoulder to shoulder with his men there, I just think is incredible. And, you know, with all the disinformation that is out there for the world to see, these pictures that we're seeing in the city right outside of Lviv, it is heartbreaking. Eventually, you got to.
I mean, Kiev?
Believe your eyes. You just.
I mean, it could mean Lviv too. I don't know.
Can't continue to say things are.
This is Odessa that we're watching, by the way. This is an oil depot apparently in Odessa that was attacked by the Russians because it was providing for the military with the oil, and it's right near residential neighborhoods.
I don't believe everything that is out there when you're seeing these heartbreaking pictures and the stuff we have to censor because there's literally dead children and dead women in the streets.
Oh, the images are just horrible. But last night at the Grammys, John Legend performed with some Ukrainian musicians, and one of them, her sister, is fighting in the Ukrainian army. She's playing a traditional Ukrainian instrument.
With John Legend at the piano.
Singing Free.
You know, I don't get why the...
I like me some John Legend. He gets involved in just about any cause that's out there.
Oscars a week ago.
And happy to contribute his time.
Said no to Zelensky appearing because last night he was at the Grammys and he is the number one thing people are talking about this morning. It's about how he was trying to, on the world stage, once again say, hey, the war's not over. They're still killing us and we need help.
Has that been, because I was reading that Sean Penn wanted to introduce him in this video, and he wasn't able to. They weren't able to get Zelensky for some reason.
Oscars?
Yes.
I think they turned him down.
They said no.
They said, we don't want that part of the show.
Wow.
Okay. I don't know about that.
I think there's an effort to kind of just bypass this story, especially when you hear some of the reports saying that the Russians are retreating. On my show, we covered it about them now leaving those landmines in the middle of the street over where the dead bodies are and everything. I mean, it's just very cruel what's taking place. And it doesn't seem like it's over.
No, these images surfaced over the weekend. They've been taken through the satellite company. It's called Maxar Technologies, and they've been releasing these satellite images, and they've been taking them throughout the month of March. And on March 30th, they released images of mass graves and women and children being killed. Zelensky said women had their earrings ripped out of their ears before they were molested. And I saw an image of a man on a bicycle just riding down the street, and the bicycle was on the ground, and the man was dead.
Zelensky talked about that last night. And there are also these reports that as the Russian tanks are moving to another location, they're apparently putting busloads of children at the front of the tanks so that the Ukrainians don't destroy the
using
tanks.
Them as human shields.
Absolutely. It is.
I just think
it's a war crime.
I think it's in.
Yeah, there's all kinds of imagery. If you go on, they're not going to talk about it here probably, but yeah, we can't verify any of this because, of course, any reporters get near this and they get shot. Yeah. I mean, you've got when you've got soldiers just indiscriminately taking pot shots at people and killing them, you're going to have sexual atrocities as well.
I don't think we can state it enough that there has been a clear shift in the way we talk about what's happening in Ukraine, and it's because of the president. It's because of their leader that decided to put this on the world stage, and without that leader, I don't think we would be covering what's happening in Ukraine. It was awesome to see him there.
No, we would still be covering what's happening in Ukraine without Zelensky. Wow. Yeah, this is really, the whole thing's all about Zelensky. I mean, can you imagine if somebody else was in charge? Nobody would care. But it's because he can talk to Hollywood.
There, considering the circumstances, continuing.
What? Considering the circumstances, you've got Russia invading another country. Guess who wasn't in charge when Crimea was invaded? Guess who wasn't in charge when Georgia was invaded? Zelensky. He was like a television star at the time.
To make that plea for help from the international community.
Yeah, well, internationally, the outrage is just mounting over these horrific images that have been emerging from Ukraine.
Say what you will about social media. Social media is largely responsible for the level of attention that this war is getting compared to the invasion of Ukraine, compared to the invasion of Georgia, compared to the invasion of Chechnya.
That's right. This is a Fox News alert, and images show hundreds of innocent civilians massacred in areas outside of Kyiv, even though the Russians say it was all staged by the Ukrainians.
Such disinformation. Griff Jenkins is in Lviv, about 300 miles west of Kyiv. Griff, what can you tell us this morning?
Oh, good morning, Lawrence, Ainsley, and Steve. And you guys are exactly right.
Okay, we always start that way. They're always right about everything. We wouldn't be paying any attention to what was happening in the Ukraine if it wasn't for Zelensky.
This, after 40 days of fighting, this is really showing the true brutality, the atrocities of this war. Now, we need to warn our viewers. The images we're going to show you are disturbing and they're difficult to see, but take a look. This is the aftermath of the withdrawal of Russian troops in the suburbs of the capital of Kyiv. You see the bodies of men, women, children, the elderly lying in the streets of
They're blurring out the bodies, and I should warn you folks as well. These images are very disturbing. They've blurred them out, but there are bodies lying on the ground.
Bucha, that Kyiv suburb, these were not soldiers. They were innocent.
I've heard it pronounced Bucha. I've heard it pronounced Buka. I don't know. I know it's Bucharest, but that's in another country. Yeah.
And civilians, some had their hands tied behind their backs, and President Zelensky is calling this genocide, and he is demanding security guarantees.
Mass graves. They didn't blur out a little hand right here, sticking out of the dirt. People, no idea if their relatives are alive or not. That figure of, I think it was 153 children, still doesn't account for the kids that were in the theater that was bombed. They haven't been dug out yet in Mariupol.
From all Western nations. Watch.
It's very few people that are actually supporting this, Trump being one of them. He's saying, oh, it's terrible now. But it was just a negotiation that went bad. Because you know what? He knows Putin. Putin's had a wonderful relationship with Putin, and that's not a bad thing, he says.
Concentrated evil has come to our land. Murderers, torturers, rapists, looters, who refer to themselves as the army and who deserve only death after what they did.
This, as you mentioned, Ainsley, this brand new satellite image from Maxar showing a 40-foot-long mass grave in Bucha. Local officials saying the death toll, which is still being accounted for, is easily in the hundreds. A local resident in Bucha struggled for words to describe what happened. Watch.
I'm sorry. The tanks behind me were shooting. Dogs. We were sitting in the cellar for 2 weeks. There was food, but no light. No heating to warm up.
This as a Human Rights Watch team releases a report documenting cases of repeated rape and summary execution in not only Bucha.
Wow, look at all those tanks and armored vehicles as well. I can't even identify to whom they belong. I'm assuming they're Russian. I don't know.
But other parts of Ukraine as well. Now, as for the latest strikes, guys, yesterday, Odessa, the seaport city on the western side of access to the Black Sea, was struck for the first time. That's a new development and suggests that Putin may be looking to further try and seal off the Black Sea access from Mariupol on the east side to Odessa on the west side. And then just hours ago, in the middle of the night, a missile struck Ternopil, an area 80 miles east of where we are here in Lviv. No casualties being reported from local officials there.
I thought he said Chernobyl, but that's not where Chernobyl is. He must have said something different.
It apparently hit critical infrastructure. We'll bring you more as we get it this morning. Lawrence, Ainsley, Steve.
Hey, Griff, as we were looking at the video of everything destroyed, I mean, complete scorched earth and people dead all over the place.
Can I check what, Steph?
What do the people of Ukraine say regarding the...
It could have said Chernobyl. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about
Russian side of the story, which is, the Ukrainians staged all that to engender sympathy for the Ukrainian people. They say it's fake news. Those images, all those dead people.
Oh, he's also saying it's about 80 miles west of Lviv, which is very close to the border. But that's not where Chernobyl is at all.
People. Fake news.
Well, it's a great question, Steve, and as we've been reporting from the beginning, the Ukrainians could not distrust the Russians more. Remember, when this invasion began 40 days ago, Russians were saying that they were not targeting civilians. What we have seen in a horrific fashion is exactly the opposite. Then we heard that during the withdrawal from the capital, coming out of negotiations last week, that they were not going to escalate things, but yet we've seen strikes strikes continue as the Russian troops try to redeploy. Now, of course, Russian officials denying that this is fake, saying that this is fake news and this was somehow perpetrated by the Ukrainians. And now a representative of spokesman for the Kremlin saying they want a UN council meeting to bring up Ukrainian provocation is absolutely infuriating the Ukrainian people, who are more united than they've ever been, because when you are on the ground here, you have every bit of ability to feel and hear from the Ukrainian people who say they are fighting for their existence.
Absolutely.
They're fighting for their lives. And while we are safer here on the western side, those in the capital region on the east may not live to see tomorrow.
Zelensky said that he not only wants to hold Putin accountable, but all of the military commanders who are giving these instructions and orders. And Zelensky went on to have a message for the mothers of these Russian men, these soldiers who were killing his people. He said they're torturing our people to death. They're strangling them after the women after their earrings are ripped out of their ears. He said they're burned alive. They're tortured, executed, shot in the head with their hands bound behind their backs, and decapitations. Then he asks, he says, Russian mothers, even if you raised looters, how did they also become butchers? Any word that these messages will get back to the Russian people?
Well, maybe, Ainsley, and it's a great point, but at the end of the day, what President Zelensky wants to do is to try and reach the families any way he can of the Russian.
We're going to skip ahead here. It's just going to be more news about Ukraine. I think we've covered that. We've seen the meat of the argument right there. Let's jump ahead and just see what they're talking about now.
Chris Stapleton, he can sing. Got a lot of soul in him.
Beautiful voice.
He won a big award last night at the Grammys, where, by the way, nobody got slapped.
Thankfully.
Yeah, right.
There were a lot of jokes.
A lot of jokes
about it. Yeah.
It was. All right. Speaking of jokes, let's talk a little bit about the coverage. When you think about the New York Times and the Washington Post, they've now said that the Hunter Biden laptop was real. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a joke that they really didn't cover it.
No. They're saying that much of it is unverified, but there were a few pieces of information in there that they were able to verify. They're not sure if they came from that particular laptop or not. But yes, there are emails out there that are from other sources that can verify certain things on the laptop. Much of it is completely unverified, and we're not even sure if that information came from that laptop. But yes.
In the run-up to the election between Joe Biden and Donald Trump.
You couldn't even post anything on Twitter about it. You were censored. The article was taken down.
Because they wanted Joe Biden to get elected. Well, now he is the president, and here we are north of a year into his presidency, and what's happening? Well, people are starting to say, hey, wait a minute. There's something to that.
Right.
Okay, but it doesn't matter. No one's going to change their vote because of something his kid posted onto his laptop. And again, even with the emails that have been certified or verified or whatever you want to call it, from the laptop, if they are in fact from the actual laptop, from hell, the laptop from hell, I came up with that phrase. Wow, good job. You invented from hell. You're a genius, just like Putin, sir. Even if all of those things were real, what he said is things like, we have to make very certain that we stay away from any illegality. This has to be done by the book. That's what the emails say.
Apparently the laptop was real. Hunter and Joe Biden's brother got $5 million from a Chinese energy conglomerate in about a year. What's up with that? And who is the...
No. Dollars to invest. They ran an investment firm, an advisory firm.
Who is the big guy? Is that Joe Biden? Did he get 10% of $5 million, or what did he get?
Not to mention the money he got from Burisma, too. And these big publications.
But by the way, totally legal. Totally legal. A lawyer who started multiple companies, who sits on multiple boards, including Amtrak, for a lawyer to sit on a board as a director or as a legal advisor to get a bunch of money, that's how it works. There's nothing illegal about that.
You had the New York Times first to authenticate it recently. Then you had Washington Post. But the Washington Post, they said, we had the hard drives last summer. We've had our experts, our forensic experts, going through them. So why are they just releasing it now? They're saying they were just authenticated.
It took them over a year to do that. And the interesting thing is, you would think that, normally the press wants to be the first one to report something.
They were able to authenticate some of the material. Much of it remains completely unverified.
Sadly, in this story, they decided that they didn't want to be the first ones to break it. But there's no new information. I mean, the laptop,
there is for the readers of the New York Times.
Exactly. There's nothing that is new or original that they're now reporting. It's been out for over a year now.
Because of the New York Post, because of this channel, because of Miranda Devine.
Right. Well, listen, so now that we know that the laptop is real, the hard drive has been authenticated.
Okay, this is from, I believe, the Washington Post article. I captured it to my phone. In the same April 2014 email, okay, Hunter Biden indicated that Burisma's officials need to know, these are the people that he's being accused of, it's somehow illegal to get money from Burisma, that Burisma's officials, and this is now the actual quote starting from here, need to know in no uncertain terms that we will not and cannot intervene directly with domestic policymakers, and that we will abide by FARA and any other U.S. laws in the strictest sense across the board. That's basically saying everybody at Burisma needs to know we are not going to break the law. That's that. Oh my God, that's the smoking gun with the trigger lock on it that's also locked in the gun safe, and the kids are not allowed in that room. But, oh my God! That's what's been verified on the laptop. We're going to do this by the book.
Now there are questions about how far up does this go? Does it?
I know, Marcy says the laptop is so old it's no longer eligible for iOS updates. Marcy, that's any laptop before 2021, so.
We've heard that apparently, as
Dale, you're exactly right. Any speculation, it's a question that needs to be asked, says Tucker.
You will hear in this soundbite, Ron Klain, the White House chief of staff, says that the president is confident that Hunter didn't do anything wrong. And by the way, just watch how this guy exonerates the president as well.
Well, also, you have the email from the laptop from hell. That says we need to abide by FARA and any other U.S. laws in the strictest sense across the board. Doesn't just say in the strictest sense. Everywhere, all the way across, we are not breaking any laws. And everybody at Burisma needs to know that. And that wasn't an email that he published for everyone. The guy's an addict. He's got serious issues. He wasn't planning at some point for this to be released to the New York Post. He wasn't planning at some point for the laptop repair shop to give a copy of the disc to Rudy Giuliani. Like, how did that happen? That's not right. That's a violation of the law.
And really puts a special emphasis on the fact that Hunter does not work at 16.
Was that a picture from his brother's funeral, I wonder?
800 Pennsylvania Avenue. Listen.
Maybe it was one of the inauguration ceremonies or something.
Neither the president or any of us at the White House have had any contact with the Justice Department about that.
Is the president confident Hunter Biden didn't break the law?
Of course the president's confident that his son didn't break the law. But most importantly, as I said, that's a matter that's going to be decided by the Justice Department, by the legal process. It's something that no one at the White House has involvement in.
I'm not saying Hunter Biden is guilty of anything. He probably is. It's certainly tax evasion, I would think. When you're bringing in that much money from overseas, pretty good. By the way, it's tax day, so, I mean, for me. But you should start on your taxes as well if you haven't done them. And if you didn't know this, you can log into the IRS, and you can see all the money that they think you got last year. So that you have an idea of like, for me, I work for multiple different companies. I never know for whom I'm working because it's a payroll service for a commercial and through a production company, through a casting agent. Like I have no clue who's paying me until I get the actual paycheck. And then that's 8 months ago and I get one paycheck for 1 day's work. I have no idea what's going on come tax day. And if I miss a piece of mail, especially since I've moved 4 times in the last year, what is going on with my life? I need to seriously rethink everything. I'm going to take my laptop in for repair. That'll sort everything out.
Is confident.
Anyway, you can log into the IRS and you can see how much you think they made. For most of us, for 66% of the population that works, it is completely useless for us to fill out our W-4s, etc. No, 1040, our 1040 forms. The 1040 form is just an easy way of saying, a more difficult way of saying, I don't need to do any of this. The IRS knows exactly how much you owe or exactly how much they owe you. They should either just send you a bill or send you a check. There's no, all of that is wasted time and money. I should run for president just on that alone.
That his family did the right thing. But again, I want to
strap-on spelled backwards is no parts. It's true.
Be really clear. These are actions by Hunter and his brother. They're private matters. They don't involve the president, and they certainly are something that no one at the White House is involved in.
Have you ever had someone in your family?
All right, why is that incredulous?
That has a criminal record, or someone in your family that's done a lot of bad things?
I don't think Hunter Biden has a criminal record.
You don't normally say, oh, I'm confident he has not.
I absolutely do. I absolutely do. If at some point I've heard my son has done something wrong and I talk to my kid and he's like, no, I haven't done anything. Okay, I'm going to believe my kid until evidence points out otherwise. Why? Because he's my kid.
Not done anything wrong. You normally say, oh, here we...
I might have my doubts, but publicly I'm going to say, yes, I love you and I support you and I believe you. That's what you do.
We go again.
Now, at some point, if your kid's an addict like Hunter, you might begin to have very, very serious doubts. And you take everything he says with a grain of cocaine. But you do support your kid. That's how it goes.
What's he done this time?
Exactly. Well, the story continues to change. Initially, it was Russian disinformation, and that we shouldn't be looking at this.
Much of it may be. Remember, a lot of this was released even before he brought his laptop in for repair and then left it there.
At all. Now it has evolved to that no laws were broken.
By the way, who brings their laptop in for repair? So how much is it going to cost? It's going to be $481. How much is a new laptop? $300. I'll go,
In here, and that the president is totally not involved with it. This is now a private matter between Hunter. But there's also another story that they continue to sell to the American people.
Between Hunter and no, just a private matter between Hunter.
Which is one, either he was drug addicted and he should have the sympathy of the American people because you have family members that are going through the same, or he was a suspect.
They're both like, yeah. Ainsley's got somebody in her family because she just looked down there. Yeah, I know, Dad and Mom and my kids and me.
Well, businessman that was totally qualified. You can't be both at the same time.
Well, but the thing the White House has pushed.
You can, actually. They have functional alcoholics. That's a thing.
And we have heard Jen Psaki say this repeatedly from the podium.
I can't. When I'm drunk, like right now, for example, when I'm morning drinking, like I can't do anything properly.
At the White House is Hunter Biden. She's not going to talk about it because Hunter Biden.
This is gin, by the way, and I don't even like gin.
Biden is a private individual. He doesn't work for the federal government. And then they also say, and the president had no involvement. How do we know the president had no involvement? We haven't.
Well, it's been researched. By the way, he wasn't president at the time. It's been researched by Chuck Grassley and Ron Johnson. They did an 83-page report. And guess what happened out of that? Nothing, because what they said was not only is there no evidence that any foreign policy was affected during Joe Biden's time as vice president, it also, even if it was, would not be illegal. It wouldn't even be an ethics violation. That's the way the law is written, because the president and the vice president are exempt anyway, which is why Trump got away with so much of the stuff he did.
Seen it yet. We don't know that is true or not. Chris Christie was on ABC yesterday, and he was in a panel surrounded by people who in the last year
he was in a panel surrounded by people. All right.
Year and a half.
Well, this is different. Let's hear what he has to say.
Have really soft-pedaled the entire story. Now Chris Christie, former governor.
What is the story? Where is the story here? Oh, a guy did some drugs. All right. Oh, a guy may have taken some money because he had a company that was a similar name to another company on which he's not on the board. This is why, by the way, registering corporations in Delaware through a service company should not be allowed.
Of New Jersey made sure they understood what was going on here. Watch this.
The idea that somehow, when making the Hunter Biden decision in the midst of an election campaign, we were saying, oh, we got to be careful about Russian disinformation. But all through 2016, 2017, we now know that it was the Hillary Clinton campaign that was creating that dossier, paying for it, and that became...
That was not used in the Mueller report.
...the basis of a New York Times Pulitzer Prize. And it turned...
No, that was not the basis of the New York Times Pulitzer Prize. The dossier was not the basis for that at all. What the dossier overall allegedly claimed, that the Russians were interfering with the 2016 election and that they were actively favoring Trump. And the Senate Intel Committee also confirmed that. And Mueller also confirmed that. And the House Intel Committee also confirmed that. And the New York Times also confirmed that. But the New York Times didn't use the dossier as the basis for their Pulitzer Prize. That's nonsense.
There was a separate FBI investigation based on completely different evidence.
Thank you, yes.
No, but George, no, George, look.
Yes, George. George is correct.
Operation Crossfire Hurricane was all about the potential infiltration of the Trump campaign by the Russians. The basis of that was the dossier.
It was not. It was George Papadopoulos. This is from Nunes's memo, by the way. This is not from the dossier. Nunes's memo confirmed that George Papadopoulos got drunk and told an Australian diplomat that the Russians had a bunch of dirt on Hillary and that was going to help Trump win the election. No dossier in there.
And instead of...
It's right in the memo. Remember the memo? We were, wait till the Devin Nunes memo comes out. It's going to change everything. That'll be... Hillary Clinton will have to resign. There's something else too just occurred to me, but I'm not going to share it.
These organizations, Chris, didn't.
No.
I need more gin, by the way. I'm out of gin. If there's anybody here, I'm out. Oh, I have a little bit of gin left. A little bit of brown gin with almond milk. So I drink my gin, and it's warm.
Publish the dossier.
No, they didn't publish it.
Wait, did I say Stephanopoulos? He's Stephanopoulos. Did I not say George Papadopoulos? It's George Papadopoulos. That's funny. George Papadopoulos, George Stephanopoulos. George must be a very common Greek name.
Dossier, Ruth, but what they did was aggressively pursue that and call it as if it was fact. And with the Hunter Biden case...
Nobody called the dossier fact. In fact, the dossier was not published before the election. It wasn't until January that BuzzFeed finally released it, and then CNN started talking about it. But nobody was publishing that nonsense because it couldn't be verified. That's the way reputable sources work.
Twitter took the New York Post Twitter account down because they reported on the Hunter Biden laptop.
Because it wasn't verified.
Which now turns out to be completely true.
No, not completely true. No, many parts of it are still unverified.
So let's just call it what it was. The New York Post had it right. But the New York Post had it right.
And I think he said they never released the dossier during the campaign. And if George Stephanopoulos said that, that's true.
And the Washington Post and the New York Times had it wrong.
It's such a great point.
What's the great point? He just said a lot of things that were incorrect, but tell me the great point and who's it between?
When it came to the dossier, they didn't go through any of the editorial guidelines, and
they never published it.
As a result, they got it wrong. When it came down to the Hunter Biden,
everybody held it back until after the election.
Biden story, which is a catalog. It's almost like a diary for Hunter. Right. There's all these videos and images and everything that you can clearly authenticate very quickly.
Really?
They decided that they were going to go through all these channels, and they got it wrong.
Yeah.
It's just such a clear double standard, and I think a lot of the American public, I have friends that are on the left that had no clue about this story. Yeah. I think it would have impacted.
You know why? Because nobody cares. It's not him. It's his kid. If the dossier had been about Don Jr., you might have an argument.
them if they would have knew that the president of the United States may have been corrupt.
There was that poll where they
may have been corrupt. It's his kid. It's not him. By the way, even if Joe Biden was Mr. Big, okay, even if money, 10% of whatever was being filtered to him while he wasn't vice president, not illegal. Completely legal for a man after he served his time in office to receive funds from a foreign country. Happens all the time. People give speeches. Trump, by the way, is like leaving so much money on the table because he doesn't go to foreign countries and corporations and give big speeches. He can if he wants to. He's not president anymore. Bill Clinton goes out and gets $100,000 for a speech. Nobody wants to pay Trump that kind of money.
I believe it was they asked the Democrats and they said the majority did not know about the story. The headlines in the Washington Post editorial.
It's not a story.
Board says the Hunter Biden story is an opportunity for a reckoning. They haven't been reporting it. Finally, it's a story to them. And so now they're going to report it. But that computer repair guy came out years ago, gave this information to our intel community. They looked through it. Not only did the media cover it up, but they didn't report it at all, and they censored anyone.
Well, no, they looked through it. So the intel community has had this laptop, if it's an actual thing, for years. She just said it, for years. And no charges have been laid. Now, there is apparently a grand jury investigating Hunter Biden in terms of IRS dealings. And that grand jury was suspended during COVID because that's what happens. So there may be charges coming for Hunter Biden at some point. Absolutely no hint of a connection between him and Joe Biden in terms of money changing hands and policy being influenced.
Who did?
We still have lots more questions. And so much of this seems familiar because
I don't know, Stephanie, that you can call anybody conveniently blind.
We've been talking about it for about the last year and year and 4 months. Those facts haven't changed.
Yeah.
What has happened now is
Well, I didn't hear any facts.
The rest of the world is catching up to the story we've been telling you. And, you know the story verbatim. And now, as we saw...
I still don't know the story verbatim. It changes all the time.
With that panel, it's like, hey, that didn't happen.
Yeah, it is. The laptop repairman who apparently took in this laptop from Hunter is blind, so therefore can't identify Hunter. That is handy.
Yeah, it did.
Why do you think they want to cover it now? Are they worried that Republicans do win in November and then there is a big investigation?
Well, it's either because Hunter Biden is about to be indicted and they want to make...
investigate Hunter all you want. He's a private citizen.
Sure that their history with the story is accurate. We were slow to the party.
They're covering their tails right now.
Chris said that earlier, Marcy, and you're right. Now they do the 7 hours and 37 minutes of missing phone call records.
Or they want to squeeze Joe Biden.
They're not really missing. It's that he didn't use White House phones during that time. And this is a thing Trump did all the time. And this is for years. Remember when John Kelly was there, he refused to he would tell people to call him back. If they called him on the White House phone, he would say, call me back on my cell phone, because he thought that John Kelly was monitoring his calls if they came through the White House.
Now, eventually it will be revealed, oh, look, Joe Biden.
Here's a guy, Trump, who doesn't use email because he doesn't want records of the things that he does. This is the way he has always operated, once email was invented, of course.
Biden did get money?
Yeah.
That might change.
He doesn't like records of his transactions. He doesn't like records of the things he says. He uses a Sharpie on paper at best and then tears it up. Trump is absolutely the antithesis of accountability.
Everything, and then somebody else would have to run for president in 2020.
I think the way that the country is going right now, that there's enough to squeeze Joe Biden out right now with all the failures of him. I think right now the press is...
Okay, that's right now, but okay.
...trying to cover their own tails.
I don't know that the company would vote for Trump the country would vote for Trump right now. By the way, Trump made that mistake the other day, and everybody makes it. Everybody says company and country and intertwines them and interchanges them. They don't intertwine them. That's the wrong word. See, I just did it. But he, instead of correcting himself, he made it sound, he did the verbal kitty litter thing where he tried to cover it up and bury the turd like 3 minutes later. Country.
Well, they might, or somebody might be trying to give him a push.
Yeah, the Roy Cohn School of Deniability. That's correct, Marcy.
Push.
Yeah.
You never know.
All right, we got a big show on tap. Coming up, the state of Arizona going after the White House as Biden moves to end a Trump-era border policy. How the state is suffering.
It's Title 42. There's still plenty of ways to reject people, but if they are legally allowed to come into the country, they're illegal. No, if they're given legal status, which is a thing. Let's take a little look at what's going on with inflation here. Who's he talking to? Let's find out.
To be here, Steve. Thank you.
You know what? We're gonna start by putting up a Fox News poll. Is Joe Biden's
I want to know who this guy is. Somebody with petroleum industry, probably.
Ad campaign against the Biden administration's dismal record on oil and gas. It comes as the president of the Western
Show the ad.
Energy Alliance will testify against the White House's inflation blame game before Congress tomorrow. But our next guest says he can prove Joe Biden's administration's dismal record on oil and gas. It comes as the president of the Western Energy Alliance will testify against the White House's inflation blame game before Congress tomorrow. But our next guest says
one of the cameramen still wearing a mask. Good job, guy.
He can prove Joe Biden is really at fault. Former CKE restaurant CEO.
Is really what? Oh, this is Trump's restaurant guy.
Andy Puzder joins us live in the studio. Andy, good to have you.
Great to be here, Steve. Thank you.
You know what? We're gonna start by putting up.
This is the guy who just fights like hell against a living wage or minimum wage.
Fox News poll. Is Joe Biden's administration responsible for gas prices? And about 70% say yes, he is. And then when you look at the inflation spike that we have seen over...
It's pretty cool that Joe Biden has the power to raise gas prices around the entire planet, except Venezuela. Kind of cool.
The last number of months to an historic record. You put the two of those things together, the yellow line goes straight up. That's what we're talking about right now.
Let's see. So this is annual core CPI inflation, U.S. versus OECD. So core inflation in the OECD is, let's see, up next, the Fulcrum. So like 2.5%, and core inflation in the U.S. is about 5%. That's actually a lot lower than I thought it was.
Now, that's the 1-2 punch, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And this chart you're showing is in comparison to European countries, the OECD countries, and inflation. We were hanging in with them right along.
Right, but if you look at economic growth as well, the U.S. is the only place that was growing out of the G7 the last quarter. By the way, I don't know what's going on this quarter because we don't know, or at least I haven't seen anything recently. But yeah, out of the G7 countries, those are in the OECD. Of the G7 countries, the U.S. was the only country with positive growth. Right now, the economy is booming. Right now, we have unemployment at 3.6%. Right now, we've almost made back all the jobs that we lost in COVID times. But anyway, yeah. Oh, inflation side. It is. Inflation's terrible. But supply and demand, that's what makes inflation go. Milton Friedman learned the lesson in the 70s. We understand how this works. But okay, let's all get Keynesian.
Right through the pandemic, and then the president and the Democrats passed that one.
Let's go back. Let's go back 200 years and decide how the economy works. The global economy. You know, before they knew all the continents were there.
$1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan.
That's not true.
Last March, and you can literally see on the chart when they passed it, because that's when inflation shoots up. Just as Larry Summers, Jason.
Also, when we were recovering from the pandemic. We had the Recovery Act in 2009, and guess what happened with inflation? Nothing. $1 trillion being put into the economy. This is all the way back in 2009. It'd be about $1.5 trillion by now. All that money being pumped into the economy, inflation didn't happen because the supply was there. The supply never went away during the Great Recession. It was affected slightly, but not anything like COVID, and it didn't keep taking hits over and over and over again. The government used the money to prop up businesses like the car manufacturers, etc., and the insurance companies for some reason. So the company stuck around. People kept producing things. Manufacturing didn't come to a grinding halt because of a disease that was killing people. So yes, money can be, we learned this, money can be injected into the economy without rampant inflation. This is a different situation.
Furman, other economists on the left warned would happen. So it's not like they didn't know this was going to happen. They were told.
Right.
Well, let me take a bit. They may not have known, but at least they were told.
Right. But we've heard the administration, they're trying to spin it, well, that's the Vladimir Putin price hike.
Recently, yes, that's what's going on with the price of oil. Yeah.
Filled up your truck before you came to New York
Yes.
City. How much did it cost you?
Well, it was a
Why are you driving a truck? Why aren't you driving a Rivian?
little under half
Dude, you own like 8,000 restaurants.
full. It cost me over $100 to fill it
For
up.
half a tank.
Oh my
For
God.
half a tank. And before the pandemic,
What kind of truck does he have?
and even during the pandemic, I could fill the tank up for under $100. So
Right.
if
Yes, during the pandemic, you could fill it up for really, really cheap. Why? Supply and demand. You know this as a restaurant owner. It's all about location, 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 and also a little bit about supply and demand. But you know.
I'm noticing, at my age, what do I care what gas costs? But if I'm noticing, you can imagine.
Well, I mean, you're one of those seniors that everyone complains about being on a fixed income. I mean, not you. You're filthy rich. But, yeah, at your age, what do you care what it costs? That's a valid question, which then invalidates all of his opinions. But okay, he drives a semi. 70 says, during the mortgage crisis, we bought our house for $170,000. It's worth at least triple that. Good for you, Stephanie. Wow, I would have been the guy who bought right at the height.
Working and middle-class Americans that are struggling right now are feeling about this. And by the way, the chart you just had up ended before.
Wait, so 40, 50, 13 gallons. Hold on. He's got. Are they even using a decent example there? I don't even want to do the math in my head. I want to get this right. Let's do this. Let's see. 40.44 divided by 13.45. Oh, I just did it all together. Give me divided. There we go. Divided by 13.4. Yeah, I thought so. Oh no! He's paying $3 a gallon! What? Am I reading that wrong? That's $40 for 13 gallons. 13 and a half gallons. Oh my God, $3 a gallon. I will buy a gas car and move to wherever this is. Wow.
Putin invaded Ukraine. So,
okay, there. Oh my God, $4 a gallon. Seriously, where is this? At my station right here in California, last time I checked it was $6.09. $3 a gallon. Woo!
that whole jump up you saw in inflation was before the invasion.
So the energy produced.
So someone's filling their tank for $40. God, I remember those days. Before I had kids.
Are going to be talking up on Capitol Hill, and essentially they're going to say, hey, look, every time the White House opens their mouth, they say, hey, there are 9,000 open leases, and if the oil producers
ask the restaurant guy about that.
Wanted to produce more oil, they would use those. But that is...
The oil companies don't even need those leases. They were already producing enough in 2019 before they cut production. Why did they cut production? Supply and
that's just flat out not accurate, because there are a variety of reasons why they're not punching holes in the ground.
Yeah, there are 5,000 permits out there that they're waiting to get approved. You can't, even if you have a lease, you can't drill without a permit. John Kerry's out there.
Okay, but they already have all the permits they need. They've already done it in 2019. All they have to do is ramp up production to what it was in 2019. That's not as profitable. And you can't blame them. You cannot blame the oil companies. The reason they exist is to make as much money as possible for their shareholders. That's their raison d'etre.
Discouraging banks from lending to oil producers, so you can't get the money if you're an independent to drill. And then they try and screw up the infrastructure. They won't approve pipelines, et cetera, so you can get the oil to market. So this is
years down the line. They have the technology and the oil they need now. They are not pulling it out of the ground. They can do it. We know they can. We know for a fact that they're capable of doing it.
It's a concerted effort to stop oil production, to hobble that industry. At the same time, you're blaming that.
No, right now they're trying to do everything they can to goose the oil industry. If you don't use your permit, if you don't use your lease, you're going to lose it.
Industry for not having more production. It's incredible hypocrisy, and it's a good.
It's not. You had more production, not you, but the oil industry had.
Thing those that the Western Energy Alliance and the American Energy Alliance are getting involved, because the public needs to know what's happening.
Well, the public feels it, though, when they go to gas up, when they
yeah.
go to the grocery store. If inflation stays at this rate, and there's a good possibility it will through the balance of the year, and gas is high, can Joe Biden get reelected?
No.
$1.59 a liter there, so that's $6 a gallon.
You every time you go to the gas pump, you're reminded what happened, and it wasn't that long ago. You know, if we had President Trump's energy policies now, you could see the price of oil go down $20 a barrel tomorrow, because oil is affected by anticipated supply as much as it is by actual supply. So all the president.
No, oil prices are it's not so much speculation as it is how much profit can we make. Again, that's their job.
Has to do is go out there and say, look, we're going to drill, we're going to approve these permits, we want funding for these companies that want to drill, we're going to put in pipelines, energy prices would drop.
Yeah, the government doesn't do that. That's called socialism, sir.
Price at the pump would drop. If that doesn't happen, there's only one person you can blame, and that's Joe Biden.
All right, Andy, thank you.
Joe Biden doesn't run the oil companies. We are not Venezuela.
Everyone.
We need more oligarchs. That's what we need.
For filling up the truck and coming to New York City.
My pleasure to be here. Good to be here after the pandemic.
No kidding.
I just got an email. They're looking for hosts for a shopping network that's based out of Philadelphia. Full-time job, pays pretty well. And it's something I've considered doing. Right now, I'm really mad at Philadelphia, and I'll tell you why. There's a gentleman named Keith Randall. Hold on. I'll pull up. This is Keith Randall. Let's look him up here. Keith Randall. And he's, is it, there we go. Him? Let's see. Images. No, that's not Keith Randall. Keith Randall. D-L-E, I think. Oh, for goodness sake. Well, let's just do this. Keith Randall Flyers. I'm sure I'm spelling it wrong. Keith Randall for the Flyers. And there we go. Yandel. Was I saying Randall? I was thinking of the Rand Corporation. I was just looking at the Rand Corporation, so I was calling Keith Randall. Yeah, I'm a hockey expert. So this is the NHL Ironman right now. What an Ironman is you've played the most games consecutively without missing one because of injuries or etc. And when you're in the NHL, you're playing through your injuries. Okay, so this is Keith Yandel. Played. Look at the headline here. Keith Yandel, the NHL Ironman, closing in on 1,000 consecutive games. He holds the record for the most games played of anyone consecutively. In NHL history, the league's been around for 120 plus years. He's closing in on 1,000 games, okay? Plays for Philadelphia. He had 989 games, and I heard he's going to miss a game. I was like, oh man, he must be really hurt, because this is the Iron Man. This is his legacy. He holds the record. And this is considering that in an NHL season, there's only 82 games. And then we had 2 COVID-shortened seasons that barely happened, 50 games, 40 games, etc. But he made every single game, back-to-back games, nights in a row, travel involved. It's hard to do. It is hard to make every single NHL game. He played in 981, and then he got injured, and he wasn't able to play, wasn't able to make 1,000. It's like, oh man, that's too bad. No, he wasn't injured. Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Flyers are out of the playoffs. They've been eliminated. They're not going to play in the playoffs this year. None of their games mean much anymore. They can't make the playoffs. Their season is effectively over. They sat him as a healthy scratch. They're taking a look at the young kids for next year. They're building now. But the guy is 11 games away from 1,000. 11 games away, and they sat him as a healthy scratch. And you know what? The reports are he was fine with it because it's for the team. I get it. Good. You know why? Because Keith Yandel is a fucking awesome hockey player. It's all about team in the NHL. It has to be, or you're gone. You do not last long if you're not about team in the NHL. They trade your ass pretty quickly. 989 games. Keith, if you're listening, I'm sure the media would reward you handsomely. you got robbed. He still holds the record. It's 989. I don't know that anybody else in history is ever going to get there. Maybe someday, long after we're all gone. Keith, thumbs up to you, my friend. Thumbs up for sticking it out. As far as I'm concerned, you got to 1,000. So no, I'm not going to take the job in Philadelphia. Home Shopping Channel people, if you're listening, I'm happy to host your show out here in LA. I'll be happy. I'll do it remotely. I can do it from my studio right here. Look at this. We've been broadcasting for an hour and 4 minutes. We haven't dropped a single frame. We're good to go. I will broadcast 989 days consecutively for you. Then you can healthy scratch me. Oh my God. I do like that my t-shirt goes with the Philadelphia Flyers orange, so well done. Where were we? Anyway, I'm just upset about that. I had to rant about that to somebody.
It's good.
I don't mention hockey much on Twitters because I don't want, then the Twitter figures out I like hockey and then they send me all the hockey scores and the news and stuff, and it's ruined before I get a chance to see the games.
Yeah, people live in the studio. Janice Dean, our senior media.
Okay, let's see if there's anything else. I guess I just found out that we've been broadcasting for more than an hour. We're talking about Disney. What do we got here? What's going on with Disney, with the Disney company?
Outsider activists from the outside telling Disney to have gay storylines. These are
growing fallout over Disney World wokeness. Disney's gonna be just fine. Let's go back a little bit and see. A single Disney shareholder slams the Disney agenda. Let's see.
One furious shareholder speaking out saying, quote, here's a suggestion for Disney CEO Bob Chapek. Get back to business. That is excellence in storytelling and stop wasting shareholders' money on political crusades that have nothing to do with Disney's business.
Disney's business is people. Disney's business is entertaining them. If Disney decides they want to go in a certain direction and appeal to more people, to be more inclusive, so that they can get more money, that's good business. I saw the new Randy Rainbow is very, very good. We can't watch it. We get a copyright strike, but well done, Randy.
Talk show host Mike Slater's here to react. So, Mike, did that shareholder get to the bottom of it?
Well, they got a long.
Well, hold on. Let's take a look here at the DJIA Disney. Okay, do the search for me, please. Can we please search Google? There we go. Disney's up 1.28% today. So obviously they're getting crushed by this whole wokeism.
Way to go. First of all, Robert, rule of conquest. Any organization that is not explicitly right-wing will eventually become left-wing. And I never thought I'd see the day when this is true for Disney, the beloved cultural icon. The problem with Disney is this is not a bunch of, or a small group of fringe outsider act.
Okay, so over the past 5 days, now they've made up the gains, the losses that they had over the past 5 days. Let's see, over the last month, which hasn't been great for the stock market. Today they've made up the so yeah, down 1.37 over the last, but the market as a whole, let's just see, 1.37. We'll look at just the Disney. This is taking a long time to load. I apologize for that. Over the last month, waiting. I don't know why Firefox is taking so long to load today. Usually it's really quick. Give me a second here. No chart available. Apparently nobody was tracking. Google hasn't been tracking the entire Dow Jones Industrial Average. Okay, all right. Well, obviously we're having malfunctionings.
Activists from the outside telling Disney to have gay storylines. These are people, activists, who have infiltrated Disney, higher ups inside of...
Guys, we infiltrated Disney. We did it.
Disney content production, who believe these things and who will drive Disney...
It's outsiders.
...into the...
Dude, you ever been to Disney? They're all gay. Even the straight ones. They're gay. I know, we're not supposed to say it. Watch the Randy video. Watch the Randy Rainbow video. It's called Gay.
Ground. They will not stop.
He really should be somebody from Florida talking about this.
Because it is a...
Oh, that reminds me. Thank you, Stephanie. Hold on a second here. Alexa, add Google to my to-do list. Okay, it did it. If you want, you can make yourself a to-do list on the Amazon machine and just talk to it and it'll add it. And then when you need to see it visually, you go into your Alexa app and right there in your Alexa app, let's see, boop, 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 you'll see the to-do list right there on your main page. You can move it in, out, up, wherever you want to see it. And then when you pull it up, it takes a while and you finally see there's all my to-do stuff. There we go. So you can check that stuff off one at a time instead of, now we've done this for years, doing it in our phones, making lists, to-do lists or whatever. It's just really easy to do it when you think of something, you just yell it out, and if you're near an Alexa, she'll put it in there for you. Welcome to Pro Tips. Smarten Up with Kevin Williams.
Beloved cultural icon that brings unity, and these progressives can't have unity, so they must destroy it. And I just think of Walt spinning in his grave at what's happening right now. I mean,
he's not in a grave. He's like cryogenically frozen. He'd be spinning in his jar, just his head, as I understand it.
Walt Disney used to have a rule that Disney employees couldn't even have facial hair, right? And now we're at a point where the next Disney princess is going to have facial hair because we have to have trans princesses and princesses. Like, it is total madness.
Okay, so we've improved over the last 40 years. Well said, sir.
It's at Disney right now, and I don't see them being able to fix it anytime soon.
I don't know that it needs fixing. I mean, I think Disney's doing pretty well. Let's go back to Disney here and just see how they've done. They probably did fairly well over the pandemic because they were, let's go over 5 years here. 5 years ago, right now Disney's sitting at 138. 5 years ago, no chart available. Really? Hold on. We're going to pull up actual Chrome and see if we can get anything here. This is yesterday's chart. Hold on. DGIA, Disney. Okay, that came up quickly, so that'll teach me. No, come on. Why? Go back. Give me the chart. Overview. Compare. Oh, it's down here. Okay, so there's ads in the way. Why? Why do that? This is not even my hijacking thing. Go forward. Show me the... No, give me 5 years. No chart available. Give me max. Why? Oh, there we go. Yeah, so 5 years ago, let's see. In 2020, 5 years ago... So let's take it, let's just say 2016, they were 110, now they're 138. Seems like Disney's done fairly well with this whole inclusion thing. Not time to panic, but go ahead, sell your stock. Get rid of that. Please do. Sell it to me. I will give you $100 a share for it, my friend.
Yeah. Looks like
Oh, it's about to tank. They're going to have a princess with a mustache.
Wouldn't be hired with my facial hair, brother. I want to get your comment on
you might be. You might be the next. Lawrence, you would make an amazing Disney princess in the new woke Disney.
I don't think my pops would be happy about that. I want to get your comment on...
No, that's true.
Netflix is backing away from Will Smith's film Fast and Loose, and Bad Boys 4 is also put on hold as the actor reportedly visits luxury retreat for soul searching. And Denzel Washington has opened it up about...
I am actually surprised at how universal the condemnation of Will Smith has been. It's very seldom that both sides get together on an issue like this. I thought there would be, and it could still happen. It could be an upswelling in Hollywood of like, oh no, he's served his time. He gave up his, give up your Oscar. That's what he should do. Is the way to redeem yourself, Will, sell your Oscar, donate the money to violence-centric charity, to Ukraine, whatever you want to do. Domestic violence would be a good one to donate it to. They're just re-showing the thing with the restaurant guy talking about oil for some reason. Newt Gingrich talking about the price of gas. That's going to be how they hammer. My Pillow is back on the air. There's something about... I thought I saw... No, that's more My Pillow. I thought I saw Sarah Palin in here. Towards the end, they usually have a big guest. It's just more about Hunter Biden, the same thing. Giuliani, Mark Levin, or Mark Levine, whatever you want to call him. Yeah, so I don't see anything else new here. Nothing worth watching. Let's just, what should we do? Let's, now we're 13 into this. We're back on Outnumbered, so let's go back. Guess what? Guess what Outnumbered is covering? I bet you it's the Hunter Biden
For a limited
story.
time, get 50% off our annual plans. Go to
can't
foxnation.com now to sign up and claim.
All right, well, it's not letting me do what I want to do, so we're just skip that. Can I not even... Am I not recording this? Yeah, I'm recording it. I don't know. Okay, well, that's enough for today, then. So, guys, we'll see you maybe later today. I doubt it. Maybe tomorrow, whatever. I have a lot of stuff to do. You've seen my to-do list. I have to do that. and I'll get going with that. I should probably shower and have some breakfast. You guys enjoy your day. Be good to yourselves. Be good to others. And most importantly, buy Disney stock. They're going to have princesses with beards. They're not. I don't ever see that happening. But okay. Guys, take care of yourself.